feel like my poor computer is going to have a little meltdown. Webinar is now streaming live on YouTube, preparing to live stream. Setting up your webinar for YouTube.
I've just got a notification that it's starting. Oh, you are live. This is awesome.
YouTube.com/watch.
A notification that it's starting.
Oh, there you go. Okay, but there's still a delay by quite a lot.
Will be a delay.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, like 10 seconds.
Okay, but there's still a delay. Okay, Danielle, let's do your tech check whilst they watch that. Do you want to try your deck?
Yes, I do.
Your screen name is good. Your background is good.
Yes.
Sorry, I was running through the slide deck, so I'll start it from start. It's basically the same, but I just took out a couple slides, so it should be shorter.
Don't rush today. Go slow.
I will not. I'm going
Well,
to go
it's not to
slow.
stick for 3 minutes, so don't. That's not great advice.
No, but last time she was under by like 20 seconds and rushed through it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some of you others took your sweet time at Sequoia.
Yeah, I was rushing.
Someone was
So
like 30 seconds over. I'm not going to say who that was, but
Danielle, do you want to start from the beginning? I just check it from the beginning.
yeah, sure,
or you have
sure. Yeah. And I have my notifications off. I have my screen name is different. Now.
Ethernet connected, Wi-Fi disabled.
That's all true. And now with regards to the Ethernet connected Wi-Fi disabled, like last
Okay, that looks
week,
good.
I had absolutely, like, there's just nothing I can do if the Ethernet goes down.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know what
not.
happened. It's never happened before. I literally rented this office because the internet is stable and our office internet is not. So
Yeah,
if there's an act of God, I can't do anything.
you can't. That's where Jason filibusters for a bit and we hope for the best and don't panic. Just
Okay,
it's not
good.
going to happen
Or
again.
stay calm. Work.
And you were the last one too. That was
I know.
crazy.
Oh my God, I know, right? I was like, I mean, I almost fell on the floor, but I didn't. So there you go.
Good. Okay, and then Jacqui, have you got thoughts on how we're going to do the investor intros? Will it be like last time we did it where they just introduced?
Yep. I'll just have them introduce them as they go. As
they ask questions.
Yep.
And then I'll just post when they do that.
Yep. You want to change your name?
Yes, I do. I do. Charles, what are you thinking?
When are we starting?
George, that was perfect. Charles literally just sent me a message saying, can you ask someone to talk? We are starting at 10 a.m. So in 20 minutes.
Okay.
But before you go anywhere, could you do me a favor and just share your deck? So that Charles is just trying to test the YouTube.
Yeah, no worries. Give me a tick. Charles, can you see my deck? Or more importantly, can you hear my deck?
air drumming is real now.
It's like you're there. It's like you could feel the drum.
It's air drumming flavor. All right. Does that
Awesome.
work?
He's typing it. Yeah, he says great.
Bonza.
Thank you. I think they can note. Jeremy, it's quite meditative listening to you type.
Oh shit.
You're not on mute, so I can just hear you're like
Okay.
tick, 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 tick.
Sorry.
No, I quite enjoy it.
Do we lose Laura? Do we lose you, Laura?
You guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, hear you.
We're just all muted.
It's like a void, speaking into the void. There's Laura. Laura, when I see your name, I get very nervous. I think she stepped away. Okay.
Okay, quick question. So this is going to be on YouTube. This is currently being broadcast on YouTube. Can my team sign in and see it?
Yeah, they just have to sign up at the link to get it. Anyone can sign up at that link to get it.
It might not currently be live though.
Okay.
I'll need to just get that from Charlie.
And it's on This Week in Startups?
No, that link that I sent you, launch.co/live. They have to sign up there.
Okay. Oh.
Because that's where the that's where the link. Let's look at the link.
Okay. Okay. So they won't be able to like, are there going to be people commenting? I mean, last time it was.
You mean YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unlisted right now, but it will be public. So yeah, it'll be like there'll be comments, last time we tried to get questions from the YouTube. The issue is there's like a 10 to 20 second delay.
Yeah.
Right. So by the time we get those questions, the round is done.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it will be on This Week in Startups?
Yeah. If you go to launch.co/live, it's there.
Just have them sign, go there.
Okay.
It's all there.
Yeah,
yeah,
I already
it is.
Just to be clear, I already posted that link, the launch.co/live link to my team, but I just want to make sure that they have.
Yeah, Laura, is the video going to be embedded on there once, or is it the Eventbrite going to stay up there that will then direct them to the link? Do you know?
I don't, but I imagine either Charles or Nick will reply on this on the Slack chat I have with them right now. So that they can't talk because of the YouTube, so you can ask questions and they reply.
Gotcha. The video will be embedded there. Okay, thanks, Nick. Okay, Jordan, are you here? Hey, Jonathan. Hey, investors are joining us. Great. How are you? I heard you twice. Does that mean there's a delay, or you just said that? Okay. Thanks for joining today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, of course, always. And there's you, Jordan. Hi, Jordan.
Hello to you. Looking great, everybody. I love the background. Gabe, greetings. Good to see you again, my friend.
Likewise. It's been a while.
Learning Spanish.
Excellent.
My Slack is going crazy. I'm going to pause notifications. Hold on.
Hello.
Hi. Hey, Ben.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? You got that cool background again. That's a real background. That's not virtual, correct?
That is a real background. I pull a book off the shelf.
I dare you. That's not real.
Yeah, I used to keep my notebooks. I keep notes on over there.
He's using AR, VR. We know. We're on to you, Ben. We know how to do it.
The best AR, VR there is. All right, great. I see Pippa's here. Hi, Pippa.
Hey, Jacqui. What's up? I feel like I don't have the matching background. I should have made one up for myself.
It's come as you are. We like it. Hi, Ellen.
Hi, Jacqui.
How
are you?
I'm very good. How are you doing?
Good.
Excellent.
I want
Thanks
the
for
matching background too.
Thanks for joining early. Oh yeah. Oh, you have a great background.
I have a melting clock background.
It's very artsy. I love it. So very shortly, actually in about 5 minutes, investors, you'll get in your inboxes more information about the companies that you'll see today, and also the list of the other investors who are on the call, who are the panelist judges. We have a number of folks joining us today. We're going to have Jason's syndicate members, other investors. They won't be like you. You are all investor judges. So we'll be going around getting your feedback and you'll vote for the companies at the end. They will just be observing. I'll take a couple questions from them from their chat room if I can. They'll actually be on the webinar as attendees, but then also tuning into a live stream. We have about 1,500 people registered so far. I'm not sure how many people will actually tune into the live stream, but we'll let you know once we get rolling. We'll be able to see what that count is. But it's an exciting day.
Just to let you know, we're live on YouTube.
Okay, great. Welcome to our YouTube viewers. So everybody gets really quiet. So when do we broadcast it then? To the other syndicate members? Do we do that around 9:55? Do that, Laura?
Yeah. I can just click broadcast. So we could give them 5 more minutes.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
Hi, this is Cindy. I just log on.
Hi, Cindy. How are you?
Good. How is everybody?
Everyone's great. I mean, I'm great. Sorry, I don't mean to speak for everybody. Everyone can tell.
Yeah, I meant to ask how are you, but I see everybody else.
Well, I'm great. Thank you for joining us.
Good to know. Yeah.
So I was just telling the other investors that in a few minutes in your inboxes, you'll get more information about the companies today and also a list of the other investors. Let me see if I can send that earlier. Hang on one second.
I got the material in the email.
Did you get it already?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Did everyone else get theirs? Let me check my inbox. It may just be going right now. I think they're going out now. Okay, folks are joining us. Hi, Robert, I see you.
Hello.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Where are you, Robert? That looks really nice behind you. Little smog, little trees.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Jason.
Gone down.
Hi,
Jonathon
Lolita. I
Triest
see
is
you.
here.
I see you. Thank you.
Hey, Jackie. Hey,
Great to see
Jason.
you.
Hello, Lita.
Hey, everyone.
Ben, how are you, man? It's in his study. Ben's in his study. Are those real books behind you, or is that like a virtual background?
Poor Ben. Gets this question every time.
Is that a real, actual? Whoa! He's in a hay silo. It's in a hay silo. By the way, Jackie, just so you know, they fired up the YouTube stream, so you're
Yes,
talking on YouTube. Just so you
I
know,
heard.
in case you didn't know.
No pressure.
And there's 50 people watching the YouTube stream while we're just bantering. So, just for
Yeah, it's still early.
still early.
Thank you, everyone, for coming on early. Jonathan, will you be able to turn on your video today?
I'm hoping to. I've got a crew of 4 kids hanging out all around me right now.
Oh, gotcha.
Trying to get them fun activities all set up.
Jackie, just so you know, I'm going to hit broadcast to the syndicate members.
Thank you.
Do it. Do it.
Release the hounds.
Release the hounds. So many people. So many people. Let's see, I just tweeted. That's always helpful. I'll go to my LinkedIn. I'll let people know on LinkedIn. I guess the best practice is to share launch.co/live, right? Because that sends you, that's always going to be our thing, right? Okay. Let's see. Meet. My latest 7 investments right now. We are live.
Yeah, I see Robbie is here. Hi, Robbie.
Hi, Jackie.
How are you? Can I see
Doing
you?
well.
I'm looking for you. There you are. Hey.
Hello.
You should have information in your inbox, hopefully, about the companies today and also the other investors who are here. Give you a few minutes to look that over.
Okay.
So investors, our format is, some of you have joined us here before, some haven't. The companies will present for exactly 3 minutes. We'll time them. Then I'm going to go around to each of you. We'll take about 4 or 5 questions. I'll kind of go sort of in alphabetical order, first name. If someone's already asked your question, that's fine. You can just say, my question's already been asked. We'll take 4 or 5 questions. They'll write them all down and they'll have exactly 2 minutes to answer those questions. And then at the end, we'll ask you to vote and give us your number 3, your number 2, your number 1. And then we'll have a winner.
And then that's it. So this is our first demo day, or this is the public one? This is the public one.
Yeah, we had one, LA 17 was our first public demo day like
Got
this.
It. Right, and this is our LA 18 public demo day. And then are we doing 2 demo days, one private, one public? Is that the?
Yeah, we had an earlier demo day with the syndicate members.
Got it.
And accredited investors. This is open to the wider public. So it's the same format. The investors here will be our investor judges, but then there'll be a lot more eyeballs.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And so we're going to start in just 3 minutes. I'm just going to pause myself so you guys don't hear kids and dogs.
Oh, welcome, Bob. I saw you pop on and then pop off.
Yeah,
thanks for joining us.
Sorry.
No, not you, Cindy.
Any chance you give us the YouTube link so we can share it with others, please?
Sure. It's launch.co/live. Launch.co/live. I'll pop it in the chat. Okay, Mike is asking.
And you can get Jason's tweet and LinkedIn. I just respread those around.
Great. Bob Green, I see you there. Are you going to put your video back on? Saw you for 1 second and then I lost you. Welcome to our YouTube audience. Should get started in 1 minute. Okay, Jason.
Okay, welcome everybody to the Launch Accelerator's 18th class. To just give you a little background on what we do as a firm, we have a podcast, This Week in Startups, that we do for free, and a bunch of educational resources like founder.university, angel.university. We engage tens of millions of people a year with that content, which then goes down to the next part of our funnel, which is the Launch Accelerator. And the Launch Accelerator is just like any other accelerator out there. We put in $100,000 and we work with the companies now fully remote which we started in the last 2 classes, going to hybrid remote and then fully remote. And it's a 4-month program now. We have a couple of weeks of pre-work, and we then do 4 months with the companies and spend another 8 months with the company. So really a year-long program doing 8 check-in calls. So these companies we put 100K into in the Launch Accelerator. Then when they graduate, which this class is graduating, and this happens to be one of the strongest classes we've ever had in terms of traction, we will make a determination if we want to put more money into the company. We have something called thesyndicate.com, which is the largest angel syndicate in the world. And that syndicate is now doing 1 to 2 deals a week. So it's really picked up some pace. And the average check size there is 400K, 500K. So what you'll see us do is when these companies graduate, if they get a term sheet, we will co-lead the round if it's reasonable. A couple of times we've had terms that maybe we didn't agree with. We participated in less of a way, but very rarely. So you will see us go on to these to invest in these companies 2, 3, 4 times. So that's our general thesis is if one of these companies breaks out, we want to try to go from that 6% ownership, maybe to even 15 or 20% if it's available. And we'll keep investing along the way. We believe that this early stage investing is a team sport. And we are very lucky to have a network of great investors who come every week. So over those 14 weeks, we have maybe 15 investors come every week. Then we do these demo days now. Everything is 100% remote. Quite paradoxically or obviously, depending on your belief system, we have seen 3 or 4 or 5 times as many companies wanting to come to the accelerator when it's remote, even though all the graduates said they would never go to an accelerator if it was remote. They wanted to have the in-person experience. So we're getting some mixed data there. Obviously, the world's changed a bit, but we are highly active. Probably, we're certainly more active than we've ever been during the pandemic. We believe this is a unique opportunity to get on the cap tables of great companies that need our support, and we have the dry powder. So we are investing heavily. If you refer a company to us, and you can just do that by emailing Jacqui or myself or anybody on our team, we will give you 10% carry share on that initial investment, which in the syndicate, which if it's a syndicate company or an accelerator company can be a pretty good deal. We've done 15 or 16 of those carry share agreements. It's just a 1-letter agreement. We sign it, you sign it, and then we're good. So we have a very, very tight program today. We want this to be the ultimate hour of an investor's time. You get to see 7 companies that we whittled down from 1,000 applicants or so. So they represent 1% of our application pool typically, sometimes 2%, but somewhere in that range. We meet with 50 people in person, 75 people. Well, we used to meet with 75 people in person. We'd fly them out to pick the finalists or to pick amongst the finalists to get to this group. So we give them only 3 minutes to present, which is a lifetime if you want an overview, but obviously it's a very brief time if you want a deep dive. So this is the trailer of the startup. I encourage you all to, if you like the company, reach out to the founder and set up a meeting. We will be syndicating or have syndicated all of these companies. So if you're a member of the syndicate or you're in the launch, if you're an LP, in our latest fund, I'll leave it at that, then you have some exposure to these in some cases. So we'll get started. Jacqui, tell me who's first.
Fluent Forever is first.
Great. So we have a thesis here. And one little punch up I'm doing here is to give you a 30-second preamble about the company while they put their deck up. So Gabe, you can go ahead and put your deck up. And while you're putting your deck up, we believe in consumer subscription services. We've had great success with Calm, Steezy, Tonebase, Fitbod, and consumers are willing to pay for outcomes. And the outcome here is learning another language. With that, I give you Gabe from Fluent Forever. 3, 2, go.
Alrighty. Hey everyone, I'm Gabe, founder of Fluent Forever, and I've built an app that can get you to fluency in a foreign language in 6 months. So the problem we're solving is a straightforward one. Most people in the world wish they could speak another language, and yet language learning tools don't work. And they don't work for 3 main reasons. They don't start with ear training. They're not focused on the right information, and then they don't repeat that information at the right rate so you can actually remember it long term. So let's start with ear training. Several years ago, I learned Hungarian to speak with my grandparents, and I hit this monster of a word. This is fényképezőgép. It's the word for camera. And if I distract you for literally 2 seconds, you will have forgotten that word. And that happens because fényképezőgép is composed of sounds that you've never learned how to hear. So ear training is your first barrier to entry, and there's a very quick fix for it. You just have to practice telling the difference between similar sounding words like doma and toma. So our app trains your ears and then builds personalized flashcards to help you remember that training. When you learn that P is for pelota, you choose your favorite pelota. And you do that because when you personalize your own content, it becomes much more effective. So we personalize everything that every user sees. And that takes us to learning the right information. When I told you that fényképezőgép was the word for camera, I wasted your time. Your word camera connects to every camera you've seen in your life. It connects to words like shutter, lens, iPhone 11, whereas fényképezőgép connects to nothing, because translations are the least useful pieces of information about any word. So instead of translations, we're going to teach you your first words using images. And then we use fill-in-the-blank sentences next to images to teach you more abstract things like the preposition en in estar en llamas. The last piece is when should you repeat this stuff? And the answer is right before you forget it. There are algorithms that will figure that out, and everything you do in our app lives within those algorithms. When you combine all these pieces, you get something that's allowing our users to reach levels of fluency that every other tool on the market can't even approach. Now, there are big players in this market because it's a huge and growing market, but there is research behind every one of our differentiators, and they produce dramatically better churn rates than the competition. In terms of our early traction, my book on this became the only national bestseller about language learning in history. My crowdfunding campaign was the most successful crowdfunding for any app in history. And 14 months after launch, we're crossing 25,000 paying subscribers. This was our May monthly recurring, and this was June. We crossed 100K, and July is looking like another 20% growth month. This is a basic B2C play. It's $10 a month, same pricing as Duolingo Premium. To hit 100 million ARR, we need 1 million customers. And ironically enough, some of the easiest to target customers are churned Duolingo users. We can access them directly on Facebook. We've built a brilliant 20-person team. My tech is led by a CTO who's led teams at Microsoft, Adobe, and other companies for 25 years. And my background was in science and engineering before I became a professional opera singer, learned 8 languages, and started this company. And so that's our story. I'm Gabe, founder of Fluent Forever, and I built an app that can get you to fluency in 6 months.
All right, great job, Gabe. All right, investors, I'm going to go around and get some questions from you. Also from our syndicate members, if you want to go ahead and ask a question in the Q&A chat room, I'll try to get to those as well. Our YouTube stream viewers, if you want to go ahead and put your questions in your chat room, we'll try to get to those as well. All right, Ben Narrison, let's start with you first. Do you have a question for Gabe?
Sure.
And can you introduce yourself, Ben? For the investors,
Great.
when I go around, introduce yourself, please.
Ben Narrison. I'm an investor at NEA, New Enterprise Associates, about a 42-year-old firm with 1,000 investments behind us, 225 IPOs, currently investing out of Fund 17, which is a $3.7 billion fund. Gabe, you mentioned it's a competitive space, Duolingo being one of the players. There's a bunch. I assume that part of your anchoring belief is that because you teach differently, you create more efficiency. That was sort of implied, if not overtly stated. If you do get me to fluency in 6 months, how do you retain me thereafter? Am I truly fluent without need for you again? Do you assume that I will go on to a second language, or do you have a program to retain me? Because your churn is still high, even though it's not nearly as high as Duolingo. How do I see a long-term revenue stream from a customer through you?
All right, great. Thanks, Ben. Bob Green, do you have a question for Gabe? Let's go on to Cindy. Cindy, question for Gabe. How about you, Ellen?
Thank you for having me here. I'm Ellen. I work with Honest Capital. We focus on seed stage, and we have over 300 portfolio companies. My question is about user growth. I understand that you want to get your initial user from this churned user from Duolingo and Facebook, and how do you plan to grow that after you have the users, your initial user base?
Thanks, Cindy. Jonathon Triest.
I am Jonathon Triest with Ludlow Ventures, an early seed stage firm. My question is I buy that you can, with more efficiency, get someone to fluency. What about just engagement and content itself? I know that a lot of users churn not because they're not doing well, but because they're just bored. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Okay, great. Jordan.
The fundamentals on your CAC and LTV, especially in the economy where many of those expenditures are not necessarily going to be key for the consumer. And if you have something on the B2B model, if you have one at all.
All right, thanks. And we have a question from our syndicate member. When are you going to launch English, the second language market in the world? Ready, Gabe?
Cool. I'm ready.
All right, let's tackle those. 2 minutes, 3 to go.
Cool. So Jordan, in terms of CAC and LTV, right now we're about $40, and it kind of doesn't matter where we send people. So we can send people to 2-year subscriptions and immediately get about $50 of profit from that, or our monthly things, which are loss leaders, and we recoup that expense over a few months. And so we're doing all of the above. It targets different segments simultaneously. Right now our spend is about $80K a month from Facebook, and we're trying to scale that by about 20% a month. B2B plays right now focuses on B2C. We have some incoming B2B contracts that we're playing with as experiments, but like B2C is the focus of the company. Ben, you're asking about the 6-month drop, like what happens after you hit fluency in 6 months? I try to be really clear with customers in terms of what we're able to deliver. I can deliver fluency, which is to say B2 level fluency in Spanish. You can really function, have conversations, be comfortable in 6 months if you're giving this thing an hour a day. What we find is the average user gives it about 15 minutes a day. And so that person is about 2 years for Spanish. And if they're trying something like Russian, Russian is twice as hard as Spanish, takes twice as long. Japanese takes 4 times as long as that. And so we're upfront with that with our users. We want to be really clear and not do these over-promising things of saying you can get to any language in 10 days and you can speak this thing. Like we deliver a real result in a real amount of time, and the average user is therefore able to get real value from us over a 2-year span if they're giving us the average amount of dedication. Jonathan, you're asking about keeping people engaged and not bored. We're seeing 2 things. One, as we deliver better results, people stick with us more. That's what that churn number means, really. I mean, we're not able to better gamify our app than Duolingo. And so they're sticking with us because of those results, because they're finding they're actually like thinking in French for the first time in their lives after like 2 weeks. But longer term, the goal is to build out a second model, a $100 a month or $50 a month subscription that connects you to native speakers who are checking in with you on a regular basis and helping you practice on an ongoing basis. Ellen, you were asking about user growth and where we go after Facebook. Next channel is Google Ads. Then we'll go after Reddit and Trade Desk and things like that. There's a lot of people out there who want to learn languages, and so we feel like we're not going to run out of people anytime soon.
All right, great job. All right, next up will be SupportPay. Jason?
So we love consumer subscriptions. Everybody in the world loves SaaS. And we think that a new category that will emerge over time is productivity tools for and software for consumers. So SaaS, the consumerization of SaaS, or SaaS for consumers, however you want to say it. It's kind of a new zone. And we thought this was a founder with passion, building something meaningful in the world with passionate customers. And we always try to talk to those customers because that becomes a true North Star for us. If you're one of the syndicate members, I get that question often, like, how do you pick companies? How do you have a good hit rate? Well, customers generally don't lie. Yeah, and if you see their engagement and you see them using the product, kind of hard to fake. It can be done, but very rare. So with that, SupportPay.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Sheri Atwood, and I'm the founder and CEO of SupportPay. We help parents manage child support and share expenses directly with each other. I'm a child of a divorce, so when I went through my own marriage, I swore that I would never put my daughter through what I went through. Unfortunately, as a successful Silicon Valley executive, I did face a divorce, but I did it myself. In order to eliminate a lot of the arguments. But what I didn't understand back then was how complicated child support is. See, most people, when they think of child support, they think about it as a once-a-month payment. But in actuality, there's all these additional expenses that parents have to share, like childcare, medical, education, or anything deemed special needs for the kids. And this turns into a lot of issues and a lot of arguments. And I wasn't the only one out there with this problem. In fact, in the US alone, there's 55 million parents parents who live apart. I was out there searching for a solution and shocked that there was nothing out there. Then I started talking to other parents. Meet Tracy. She is a single mom of Madison, Lexi, and Logan, and she was trying to deal with all their additional expenses with her ex, Larry. So you had Madison's braces or Lexi's cheerleading or Logan's football. And then it became all these Google spreadsheets and this calculations back and forth, all of this receipts, trying to manage and share them, these emails and text messages, and it just became a nightmare until they found SupportPay. With SupportPay, they have all of their information, expenses, and payments in a single certified system. A parent logs in, they can upload a receipt, the system scans the receipt and then populates who it's for, where the item is, enters the amount, and automatically calculates how much each parent owes. Then the system sends the notification to the other parent, where they can log in from the web or mobile app. They can review the item, see the receipt, dispute it if they want, or most importantly, if they agree, they can make or schedule a payment right there. Now they have all of their information in one certified location, eliminating all of the arguments that happen between parents. Tracy says, it's amazing. I don't have to call, text, email, and nag him for him to pay his share. And he finally understands how expensive his kids really are. And Larry says now he knows where his money is going and he has a certified record. Not to mention their divorce attorney says they're including SupportPay in all of their child support orders because it gives them the data they need in order to help their clients. The way that we make money is a basic subscription model starting at $7.99 a month or $79 a year plus transaction fees. We have over 27,000 users, 1,600 of them are paid, and we just hit 23,000 in MRR. We did that all on zero marketing expense using search and SEO, as well as partnerships with family law professionals. But how do we get to 100 million? It's simple. We continue and double down on search and SEO, our partnerships with family law, getting into the orders or agreements, and through paid ads, all ran by an incredible team with over 200 years of experience in order to help children get the financial support they deserve from both parents. I'm Sheri Atwood, and I'm the founder of SupportPay. I look forward to your questions.
All right, great job, Sheri. Investors, Lolita, could you please introduce yourself and your question for Sheri?
Yeah, Lolita Taub, and I'm a venture partner in Next Gen Venture Partners. My question to you is, who's paying for the subscription?
Okay, thank you. Pipa, welcome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pippa Lam. I'm a partner at Sweet Capital, which is the VC fund set up by the founders of Candy Crush. So just to the previous presenter, we love all things gamification, so very cool. My question is, tell me a little bit more about your go-to-market. You mentioned some potential partnerships or distributions through law firms, but tell me about how you're acquiring those customers beyond SEO. Thanks.
All right, thanks. Ravi from Parade.
Hi, I'm Ravi, an investor at Parade, new early stage fund focusing on seed and pre-seed. My question is more about churn and kind of the main reasons for it.
All right, thanks. Robert, Maven.
Hey everyone, I'm Robert Ravanchanas from Maven Ventures. We're a early stage consumer focused fund. My question for you, Sheri, is on market size. So 55 million parents, does that equate to half as many couples? And is that market growing or not growing in the US right now?
All right, great. And let's take one from the syndicate, from Ralph. In order to grow to 100 million, have you guys considered opening this platform to couples without children that just want to keep their finances separate? This would help them have a joint account. So let's take those. 2 minutes.
Gave me a ton. So starting with Lolita, who pays? Great question. I didn't want who paid to be yet another argument point. So each parent pays independently. There is a premium version. There's also a free light version so that they can choose independently who pays. And that also gives us the opportunity to monetize on both sides. I'll address Robert's question on the market size. So this market is growing and it's growing substantially. While people, especially millennials, are choosing not to get divorced, people are still having children. And in fact, since COVID, our daily registrations have tripled without any additional marketing expense. They believe or are predicting that the separation or divorce rate will skyrocket in the next 6 months. They've already shown that in China. So while maybe people aren't getting divorced as often. This is a continuous market that people will continuously have children and unfortunately continuously separate, which also goes into the question about, is that really just half of those have couples? And the answer is no. In fact, 33% of parents in the US have multiple children by multiple parents. So it's parents, blended families, married, divorced, step parents, and then they still have children, and you have to think that this spans at least 18 years, if not longer. So that helps us in order to target that market. And then from a go-to-market perspective, we started just simply with search. Right now we're doing paid ads, and there's so much traffic out there that we're blowing our budget by 10 a.m. every morning, only focusing on 10 states. So the demand is high just from parents, but more importantly, getting into the order or agreement, partnering with family law, lawyers, mediators, judges, financial advisors, getting into the order when it happens, it says that they have to use us, and then they have to use us long term, which addresses the churn question. Number one reason why people churn is because they get into an argument about something else. So by getting into the order and them agreeing up front, it sort of locks them in. Thank you.
All right, great job. Next up will be V1.
Okay, so everybody knows that no code is a thing and everybody wants to build apps. But if you talk to anybody who's doing no code, pretty great for websites, pretty bad experience for apps. And if you speak to anybody who's non-technical, getting an app done by outsourcing it, still a very painful process. And when we saw the customers of this company, the early customers were actually having an outcome, right? And so when a founder makes a product, we listen to their vision, and we try to listen very deeply and be present for that. Once we hear what their vision is, we start to ask questions about, well, what is the outcome for the customers? And then we try to see if the product is actually hitting the outcome, whether the outcome is divorced couples being able to discuss money without killing each other, or people who want to learn a language, actually learning a language, or people with meditation and calm being able to actually reduce their anxiety and get to bed and stop doom scrolling. I'm speaking, of course, of myself. So when we looked at the outcomes here, we were very impressed, and we thought this is a very promising, interesting approach. So with that, I'll hand it over to Jeremy. 3, 2, go.
Thanks, JKL. I am Jeremy Redman, founder of V1, and we are the easiest no-code platform to launch any app. So everyone has an app idea, but right now only 4% of people know how to even navigate a CMS. This is the current view of an industry leader in visual development. And as you see, every square inch of this screen is filled with something someone has to learn. Another competitor of ours, Bubble, who builds mobile web apps, I akin this to Photoshop, and with that, the learning curve or the design learning curve that comes with learning Photoshop. They claim 430,000 registered users, but around 10,000 monthly active users. I see that as 420,000 people who gave up trying. Compare us to Canva. There's a very little slight learning curve in building something and building your designs in Canva. Here, take a look. Anyone can come in here without giving us an email address, connect their Shopify store, pull in a feed within minutes. We have a direct connection to Airtable as well. They can change the layout, change anything that they want, go to their Airtable base with full integration to change anything. And here's an amazing thing. We have a members only screen that protects content. You can unlock and lock if you want. Even in Webflow, you can still have to drag and drop code, which is kind of frustrating. How do we teach those people? This is what something spits out. And then we have something called X-ray mode that gives people tips and tricks that brings the newbies to experienced developers. They only pay $8 to start, or $79 when they start to grow. These pricing plans are new, and we have ridden them to over 30,000 in monthly revenue. Our beachhead market right now is college incubators and accelerators. They are very resource constrained, and they're very picky, so we learn a lot from them. We've also experimented with business newsletters. locally in LA and beyond. We've really tried to have that customer service approach. And because of that, we've earned a 48% referral rate. People love us. This is the competitive landscape. To a new competitor, Glide, they raised some money last year. They're very template based. The learning curve is slightly lower, at the same time, very templated. Bubble, neither one of these two push native apps either, and we allow people to export source code and go on their journey with them. We will enable 100x more creators with what we're doing, because again, the other platforms with the learning curves essentially are only helping the 4% of people that already know how to navigate a CMS. My CTO was the 13th employee at Box. Brian was the first employee at Zapier. And I am Jeremy Redman, and we are the easiest no-code platform ever.
All right, great job, Jeremy. Okay, investor questions. Ben, we're back to you, Ben Narrison.
Sure, it's interesting. This is something that's been around. I invested in a company that did this about 6 years ago when iPhones first started to popularize apps. So what I'd like to understand is you showed two things. You showed a pretty limited competitive landscape, but there are a lot of dead bodies here. Maybe speak a little bit more to the past and what hasn't worked and what has. And secondly, use cases. You mentioned connecting to Shopify. You mentioned experimenting with newsletters. You know, what are sort of the core use cases you are seeing right now for the people to actually have their apps do?
All right, thanks, Ben. Let's try you. Cindy, are you there? And I think we had trouble unmuting you last night. Oh, great.
Hey, my name is Cindy. I've been investing for almost 10 years. I actually invested in Zapier. So you've got a strong team because a Zapier early team member. So my question is, you are raising $0.7 million. What's your plan to invest that money?
All right, thanks. Ellen, question?
I think it's a subscription model. So how do you keep the users staying in your platform after they complete building the app?
Okay, thanks. Jonathon Triest.
My questions were really similar to Ben's. I guess really how do you differentiate with so much noise? Yeah, thanks.
Okay, great. Question from Richard Syndicate. So it's just for mobile apps? Is this question? You want to take those, Jeremy?
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, go.
Okay, so yes, there are so many dead bodies, and there are also new entrants like AWS's Honeycode. And I gotta say, it's absolute trash. Why? Because these solutions are built by engineers, okay? I'm a no-coder myself building this no-code platform, and I've done a lot of research on every single builder that's out there. And if you follow the trail, they are all led by technical people. And early on, especially a few years ago, every no-code platform started with the notion of helping developers develop faster, right? They just kind of like backed into helping non-technical people. That's why they failed, and that's why we will win. We are the only no-code app builder led by an actual no-coder. Use cases. We've actually experimented with an embed module that people can adjust their app on the fly. The possibilities are truly endless if it's in React Native. And then they can export their source code for an added fee and build onto it as well. We've had anything from like a machine learning, like counting push-ups piece to a Shopify store to small businesses that are tired of DoorDash or Postmates prices. How do we plan to use the money? We are using it right now to experiment more with marketing. The channels that we have experimented with, we're putting more into them, but finding that real coin-based operating system and also having some resources to build out the customer support team to handle the demand that we currently have. The subscription-based model, yes, it's a subscription-based model. We give a steep discount for annual. Our lifetime value on the new plan is about $300 and we acquire them for 15. So we're pretty good there. And we've really focused on starting and launching. 90% of ideas fail. Those people will come back. Thank you.
Great job. All right, next up will be Freedrum. Jason?
Okay, so hardware is hard. Subscriptions for consumers, I wouldn't say are easy, but they're certainly easier. And when we saw this company, we said, wow, yeah, they've suffered through the hardware part of this. They've de-risked that for us, and now they're launching a subscription product. So we see this as part of our HaaS, hardware as a service category. Density was a company that we syndicated for syndicate members who remember 6 years ago. They were at our conference doing people count. That company's done phenomenal. In fact, I think Jonathon Triest is here, and he was an early investor in the company as well with me. And so we see this as something new. Hardware-enabled subscriptions gives you a little more defensibility, makes the product a little more unique, gives you a retail presence, but allows you to capture that subscription model, which is critical. Okay, 3, 2, go.
I'm George from Freedrum, and we're making the smartest way to learn music. I'd love to show you what we've made so far. So drums are great, but they're large and loud, and lessons are inconvenient and expensive. So we created a hardware and software solution which is small, quiet, and affordable, and allows users to gather insights into how accurately and effectively they're practicing and learning. We originally brought the product to market in 2017 via a Kickstarter campaign that raised over $620,000. Since then, we've shipped over 13,000 units globally and generated over $2.5 million in revenue. To drive our company, we've started with a simple business model where we offer the product in 2 SKUs, and almost 90% of our customers opt for the more expensive $245 version, which includes full access to the current software. We make 75% margin on our current cost of goods. Most people assume our product is for beginners when in fact we have a wide range of intermediate and professional users. Our primary channels of acquisition are Google and Facebook ads, and our cost of acquisition is just under $32. In addition, we built a very strong brand following within the music community.
Air drumming is real now.
It's like you're there. It's like you could feel the drum.
Free drums, they're amazing, man.
You can open the hi-hat by lifting your foot above the ground.
That felt really good, actually.
The thing I like about it is that it's pretty mobile and easy.
This is traveling. You can travel right away.
The concept, air drums, is really old, but this is not air. This is air with flavor.
So to grow our company to venture scale, we're shifting to a subscription business model and starting with a price point of $9.99. We're doing this by adding learning and peer-to-peer functionality to our software. Our key differentiator is that we'll teach you to play using your own favorite music instead of relying on pre-recorded content. Users will play a song using their premium subscription model, and our software pulls the drumming stem and visualizes the notation. The app will tell you how accurately you played, where you went wrong, and once you've mastered the song, what to play next based on your preferences. We then provide analytical insights to make sure you improve and allow you to easily share your progress and stats amongst your network. We're essentially doing for music what Peloton and Mirror have done for home fitness. Now the market opportunity is there. Based on sales, demand for guitars is 4 times larger than drums. So by applying our hardware and software approach to e-learning over to other instruments, we're going after a total addressable market of just over $7.5 billion. Our numbers don't lie. 2 weeks into the 3rd quarter, and we've already blown past last year's revenue. Our year-on-year quarterly growth is over 200% at this point. And at this rate, we'll be tripling our annual revenue in 2020 as we head into the holiday season. Our team is small, but we're deep in R&D experience. We're repeat founders that have bootstrapped this company and run it profitably since day one. And finally, we're highly mission-driven music enthusiasts. I'm George from Freedrum, and we're making the smartest way to learn music. Thank you.
All right, great job, George. All right, investors, Jordan. Jordan, you next with a question for George.
I'm a pass. B2C isn't my key.
Okay, Lolita.
A quick question on the distribution. Well, actually, my question's on how has COVID impacted and this whole work from home world impacted your business?
Pippa.
Hey, how big can this market really be? And second of all, how much work is it, time and money, for you to take what you've learned so far with drums and apply it to the other instruments that you're planning to roll out?
Ravi.
Could you talk a little bit more about how feedback works when using this product?
Okay, Robert.
Could you clarify the business model? You said you're moving to software for $9.99 a month. How does the customer pay for or acquire the drum, the hardware that attaches to the drumsticks?
Great. Actually, and Jonathon Triest, did you have a question?
Actually, I've been playing drums since I was 5, so I'm a big drummer. I'm really curious. One, without like surface contact, like what's that like for the person playing drums, since like you're not actually hitting anything? And 2, how do you make it like a really serious, effective piece of hardware versus like a fun or gimmicky toy? It looks super cool, but you're gonna have to really figure out how to differentiate there.
All right, let's take those. George, you ready?
Yeah, absolutely. Those are great questions.
Here to go.
Great. So Robert, first, the pricing model, pretty simple. We're starting off with 2 sort of versions. The first one is a non-committal where you'd pay $49 upfront. You'd get the hardware and then you could cancel at any time. It's, a simple month-to-month play. Alternatively, you'd sign up for an annual subscription that would be heavily discounted. Plus you'd get the hardware included in that. Ravi, feedback. That's part of the special sauce, because what we're competing against is a wide variety of companies that have done this before, and even to some degree YouTube, which does it for free. The key difference is that with all of these alternatives, they're only presenting you the content. It's still up to you to figure out whether you're playing this right or wrong. Because we've got that hardware lock-in, we can simply create that closed loop where the system can detect how you're doing it right or wrong, whether the song you're trying to learn from is too advanced, and whether you should move to something, simpler, or perhaps even push yourself a little bit harder. Pippa, to some degree, that does, I think, address your question as to how much work is it to expand over to other instruments. I think one thing that can be, like an easy gap to fall into is that, we talk about it being very portable and quiet and all that kind of stuff. And the real key is the fact that we have this very unique approach to learning where we're using a song-based learning as opposed to content-based. And the reason why we did that is because we researched our customers, everything from beginners through to pros, and that we're building on existing behavior. So we're essentially taking that part of it and moving it over onto other instruments. Now, MIDI guitars have existed for a while. There are MIDI microphones. So the platform is there, like the basis is there to move over onto other instruments. We're simply applying our special sauce, over onto that. Lolita, you asked about how COVID has affected our business. It's been a double-edged sword. Generally, it's been good, for better or for worse. The negative side of things is that, of course, our retail business completely shut down. We had a lot of momentum there, but that totally stopped. But, at the same time, we just accelerated and focused really hard on our e-commerce marketing. So we have managed to grow the business, steadily through there. And then, John, finally, surface contact. Yes, in the current version, that is a negative. In the new version of the hardware that you saw a rendering of, we will be including haptic feedback. And I'm out of time, so I'd love to talk to you more about how this is a serious learning tool. Thank you very much, guys.
All right, that's great. Thanks, George. Okay, next up is Formulate.
Okay, so direct to consumer is really hard. I think everybody has some experience and scar tissue in investing in direct to consumer. Really hard to get to 500 to a million, really hard to get from a million to 10, and certainly 10 to 100 million, really hard. We've done a number of investments there and done okay, I would say. It's challenging. And as we study the space, what we find is differentiated products that are very unique, and founders who really understand the customers and how to market to them, their audience, are the ones who win. So if you were to draw that, classic XY, or a 4-quadrant, very differentiated product and a founder who really understands how to market it, that seems to be the sweet spot. And we think Formulate is something with mass customization and a founder who really understands data science and influencers and subscriptions, and the customer is going to do pretty well and has done pretty well so far. So 3, 2, go.
In the future, every product that you put on your skin and in your hair will be customized, made to order, and better for you. The simple truth is that the ingredients already exist to solve the world's skin and hair and scalp issues. It's just about delivering the right ingredients at the right levels for each person. My name is Uz. I'm the founder of Formulate, and we are your own personal chemists. We started with that simple question: what does the future of personal care look like? And then we spent 3 years to build a platform that powers that future. One where you can open up your phone and communicate with a chemist to customize all of your products and routines. So here's how it works. This is Jessica. She's 31 and spent her entire life looking for the right products. This is a real customer, but I'm using some stock photos. She has unique hair and she's been dealing with an itchy scalp for years. She gets acne frequently, has keratosis pilaris, and has a citrus allergy. She hears about Formulate and decides to give it a try. And in 3 months, she's raving about how Formulate changed her life. So here's how it happened. Jessica visits Formulate. She answers a few questions about herself, like how sensitive is your scalp? 50% of Americans like Jessica are dealing with scalp issues that are actually easily resolvable with the right formulations. So she places her order and receives her first formulas within a few days. And on our back end, Formulate builds her profile. She uses more shampoo than conditioner, so Formulate predicts when she'll run out and automatically creates a customized subscription for her. Her 30 initial data points are stored in our evolving customer property storage system. She had an itchy scalp. All this data is then used to customize her initial formulas. And Formulate keeps a version-controlled history of her formulas as they change for her over time. And when they're dispensed, a production record is stored in history with real-time costing and complete ingredient lot traceability. After she receives her set, she downloads the Formulate app where she can manage her entire personal care routine. She can chat with her chemistry team and soon her medical providers, modify her subscriptions, and learn about the ingredients in her formulas. She can also change her fragrance and allergy settings. Finding products that avoid allergies is a pain point for 10 million Americans. And in 2 weeks, Formulate pings her for feedback. So her scalp feels great, but she wishes she could have a bit more frizz control. Our platform learns from each piece of feedback and iterates on her formulas until they're perfectly dialed in for her. We've created a purpose-built ERP that powers everything from our customized dispensing equipment all the way to real-time inventory management and satisfaction reporting. We beta launched last year with just a shampoo and conditioner subscription. We have now 28,000 customers with 60% margins. But most importantly, we demonstrated that our platform works. We built better products over time by combining flexible manufacturing with customer feedback. We've gone from 38% initial satisfaction to over 70%, which led to 400% growth in our retention rates over that same period. And 2020 has really been our breakout year. We tripled since February. We're now at a $1.8 million run rate. Formulate will be a platform to manage your entire personal care routine. We started in hair care and we're moving into skincare later this year. But the broader vision is to license our platform as a tool for public health and wellness. Love to invite you all to experience Formulate. You can visit us at formulate.co/launch for 25% off until tomorrow. Again, I'm Uz. I'm the founder of Formulate, and we are your own personal chemist. Thanks.
All right. Awesome, Uz. Investors, back to you, Ben. Question for Uz.
Great. How can you talk a little bit more about the feedback loop? You mentioned that you get pinged with a certain set of questions, just maybe a bit more detail on how actively you're connecting to the people, and more importantly, I think to me, the compliance. You know, what percentage of the people that buy the product are then willing to give you that feedback, and then how does that impact reorder?
All right, thanks. Cindy, question for Uz.
Hey, so for your customer outrage, do you have more female customers than male, or more curly and straight? So what about the gender and the race distribution for your customer base, and your plan to target more?
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Ellen, question for Uz.
So what's the key message of your product, and how does it differentiate from products like pros? And also, how do you plan to build a community for your product?
All right, great. We have a couple syndicate questions. What is your average gross margins over the last 6 months? And how many different SKUs does Formulate currently have? It's a lot, Uz. Ready to take those?
All right, no problem. Yeah. Ben, so talk about the feedback loop, how it actually works. 86% of our customers download an app, the Formulate app, after buying the product. 50% actually do end up providing feedback. That's something we're looking to obviously increase, because anybody that leaves feedback is twice as likely to continue forward, even if they had a negative experience. The questions right now are about 6 questions. We ask about how you like the fragrance. And if you didn't like the fragrance, why you didn't like it. Was it too weak, too strong, or you just didn't like the smell? And then we ask about the overall product. We also allow you to provide feedback, free text feedback, but then we also apply structure. So if you're having issues like frizziness, as you saw, we apply structure to that. So we're capturing all that data. And yeah, so that's a push notification through the app for those customers. Cindy, so right now it's about 93% female women in America, 25 to 40. We did launch the Formulate hem line targeting men about 2 months ago, seeing some great success. We do believe that in the long run, personalization will be ubiquitous. So it will follow the same trend that we see with custom golf clubs, where previously only pros would use custom golf clubs, but now it's kind of the norm, it's standard. This is what we expect even for the customer base that you wouldn't consider skin or hair crazy or very into that. So in the long run, we expect this to apply really to the masses, including, if you want to say, for men who may not take the time to really focus on finding the right products. Ellen, key differentiator or key message for the consumer is that we're your own personal chemist. We're a pocket chemist. So something that never existed before is the ability to open up your phone, talk to a chemist or talk to a platform that can actually materially evolve your product over time. So this is fundamentally different than buying one product, moving on to the next, where all of that feedback and knowledge is lost in experience. We're actually capturing that over time. You have the ability to open up your phone and talk to a chemist to have your product changed. From a differentiation standpoint compared to a company like Pros, we're the only company in personalization to build emulsion level customization. So taking that tied in with feedback, if you were to look at our slope of satisfaction over time, it has allowed us to become better and better faster than any other company to date. That's all the time I have. Sorry, I'll get to your questions hopefully after this. Thank you.
Please. All right, next up is SoleSavy.
Okay, so we all know that community is a major driver of commerce in the world. And we all know that social networks are too big and, the loudest, most obnoxious voices in the world kind of take over Twitter and Facebook, et cetera. And so we think that communities are going to become an opportunity, specifically paid communities. And we've been saying for a long time that Twitter should have a paid product, or Facebook, or I've been saying that for a decade, a paid tier. And when we saw SoleSavy and what they were doing using Slack as a community to drive the top 1 or 2% of sneaker purchasers to have their own community that they're willing to pay for at a very high level, superhuman email level payments, we thought this was a really interesting business that we could learn a lot from. And so this is a wild card in the group. It doesn't fit into the previous categories. So take note of this is not no code. This is not, consumer subscription. This is not SaaS. This is not a marketplace. This is something new. Just pay attention, everybody. 3, 2, go.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dejan, co-founder of SoleSavy, and we're building the future of the sneaker industry. SoleSavy is a community and platform built on top of Slack for people who love buying sneakers. Think of us as a digital Soho house crossed with Amazon Prime, but we don't hold any inventory. The core of our business is simple. We offer $30 monthly subscriptions. Our revenues reach $52,000 in MRR with 2,000 subscribers. That's a 30% increase in subscriber growth this past quarter and a 40% increase in MRR over that same period. We're growing organically and consistently, which has us pacing to double our MRR by December. So why do customers join? We help them save money and buy sneakers at their retail cost with no premiums, like this Yeezy, which on average resells for $60 above retail, or this Jordan 1, which resells for a premium of $100. For some context, those shoes were purchased 1.5 million times on StockX last year. That works out to a ridiculous $120 million in just premium spent on 2 shoes on one marketplace. This brings me to Chris. He became a member last year because he was tired of paying those same premiums. We made it possible for him to buy this Jordan in seconds. Once a sneaker is released anywhere in the world, we notify Chris instantly through Slack notifications. All he has to do is open his phone, select his size, and he's taken directly to checkout to complete the purchase at an authorized retailer. We combine our tools with a decade of experience to ensure every member becomes an expert along the way. And our community adds value to our core product offering because of the connections members build with each other and with us. We're building brand loyalty that sets our business apart. SoleSavy is a place where people can come together and they just happen to do it over sneakers. To give you an idea of how far that loyalty goes, we designed our own premium sneaker and sold 300 units for $600 each. Our mission is to capitalize on a market that's already reached 80 billion and just getting started. So much so that a $6 billion market has grown on top of it because demand and interest is so high. And interestingly enough, the secondhand shopping market is expected to grow to 64 billion in the next 5 years. The platform we're building leverages our brand loyalty to help drive our future as we monetize every single aspect of the sneaker industry. Once we acquire a customer, their value to us is incredible. Even through COVID, our churn has stayed at 4%. Our customers are very engaged. They use our community as a replacement for social media, and because of that, they are tuned into everything we communicate. That engagement allows us to directly target the most active consumers online. In just 20 days this month, our subscribers spent almost $400,000 on products. We've bootstrapped this to date and we're just getting started. The upside within the industry is massive and we're building a brand that will become a global name. And I know I've talked a lot about sneakers today, but don't get stuck on the word sneakers. These consumers who are spending $200 on shoes will also spend on everything else. The foundation of our company is two founders with decades of combined experience in e-com and retail, but forget what we look like because this is the real us. We love sneakers and the culture surrounding it. Once again, my name is Dejan, co-founder of SoleSavy.
All right, great job, Dejan. Jonathon Triest, question for Dejan.
Really cool. Well, I'm actually here in Detroit and an investor in StockX, so love the space and congrats. I'm curious, is the average user someone who's already a Slack user, or are they first onboarding Slack for the first time just to use SoleSavy?
Thanks. Jordan.
I'm sorry, I don't do B2C, but I love the idea. I love the concept, but no B2C for me.
Okay, thanks. How about you, Lolita?
Yeah, I have a quick question on community. Are you leveraging the community to bring on more customers?
Pippa?
Tell me about your end vision. You know, does this sit on Slack forever, or do you see yourself building out your own platform? And if so, what would that look like?
Thanks. How about you, Ravi?
Yeah, do you allow anyone to join? And like, how do you kind of maintain quality in the community?
And Robert?
Ravi asked my question.
Okay. And we have a question from Richard. Doesn't GOAT already own this market? Ready to take those, Dejan?
Yes.
Okay, that's a lot. 3 to go.
Yeah, so to start in the question of GOAT does not own this market. The only market GOAT and StockX own right now is the secondary market of people paying a premium to buy products. That's what this whole industry has turned into, and that's what it's all about. There's nothing enabling consumers and helping them succeed and also enjoy their experience in purchasing a product. No one likes to go to GOAT or StockX. They don't care which one they go to. They just want the best discount and the cheapest price ultimately, not a discount. So we're differentiating in the fact of the first time you see a product to when you buy it, that is our space. That is what we're monetizing, and that's where we're working in and building towards that second part of marketplace, because the hardest part about having a marketplace is actually acquiring the users who want to use it and trust you, and that's a whole nother discussion. But Jonathon, average user is already not on Slack. It is part of our onboarding process. You know, we have users who are 55 who got into sneakers the first time they saw Michael Jordan play basketball and are coming back into it, and we onboard them into Slack. Some users are a little bit more of a challenge to do that. Some work at corporations that use Slack and they're super excited about that. So it's kind of a mix, and you know, it is part of our process. Jordan, so we do leverage our community. Our growth is really based on organic. Daily members are contacting us and saying, hey, I would like to refer a friend, because we're on a wait list. We use the wait list to manage our flow, make sure we're vetting people, which kind of comes into Ravi's question. But community is important to us, and having good customers in the community is what makes it succeed and brings everyone together. And there's something beautiful about the fact that you paid $30 to be able to use this, that it comes with accountability and ownership that you'll never find on Twitter or Facebook, because people just say outlandish shit. And that doesn't happen here because it's just a really tight-knit group of people who believe in that power of community together. Pippa, as far as Slack Forever, it's what we're exploring. Part of me feels like for the platform to succeed in, monetizing and understanding the full data and everything that's happening from the user engaging with us to the transaction happening and how we can leverage that to make a better experience, it most likely will need to be on its own infrastructure and own platform. But right now it's working really well for us, and we don't have a reason to stop. So we're going to keep pushing towards that until we foresee a bump in the road. And I am out of time. Thank you.
Thanks, Dejan. Okay, and our 7th founder is
all right.
Outlaw.
Making great time here. So again, back to D2C, consumer, direct to consumer. We like companies that have founders with a very deep understanding of their customers and a very differentiated product. And so we felt Outlaw Soaps had that when we talked to their customers and we looked at their data. we saw their sales, and we're big fans of the product personally. We just, one of the big hacks as an investment team that we unlocked long ago was to just use products. And if you use the products, boy, do you get a lot of information. And the information we got from this one was, we now understand why consumers are so crazy about it and they keep reordering. So with that, Danielle, you have 3 minutes on the clock. 3, 2, go.
Awesome. Let me get this started. Okay, great. Hi, my name is Danielle Vincent. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Outlaw. We make personal care and home fragrance for people who want to smell like campfire, whiskey, leather, and the great outdoors. Last year, we found our product market fit and grew by more than 320% last year. This year, even with moving from California to Nevada and a global pandemic, we're already at more than 240% year to date, driven, as you can see, by a huge surge in direct-to-consumer sales. Our cost per acquisition has dropped to nearly $2, and our average order value and our lifetime customer value has stayed strong. Last year, we did 1.2 million in sales. This year, we're on track for 4 million in sales. We're primarily a direct-to-consumer brand selling on liveoutlaw.com, and we use Amazon and wholesale for discovery. It's marketing with an upside. Our wholesale accounts are all very strategic. For example, Whole Foods gives our natural product claims credence, and we're selling through so well there that they're picking up more of our products next month. We have a differentiated product, fanatical customers, a low cost per acquisition, really high margins, and we're poised for exponential growth with your help. Our margins are 70%, industry standards 35%. So these are more like software margins than grocery margins. And of course, we've attracted major press in the last few months. Men's Journal, Esquire, Forbes, and Outside have all written really nice things about us, and our customers write about us too. Now that I found you, I'm never using anything else. Marty's sentiment is not uncommon. It's because our scents are so differentiated. Our scents are unlike anything else on the market today. For example, we have things like The Gambler, which is inspired by bourbon, tobacco, and leather, to Home on the Range, inspired by blackberries, fresh cut grass, and fresh laundry. Each scent is available across several different product types. So when somebody finds their signature scent, they're never using anything else. And these consumable products lend themselves perfectly to subscriptions. We relaunched our subscriptions in March and have more than doubled our monthly recurring revenue since then. This is what the next 5 years looks like. We're going to continue to focus on direct to consumer, including subscriptions and Amazon. And then in 2023, we'll pivot slightly, start focusing more on wholesale, get our volume up, our cost down, and get over that $100 million mark in 2024. But this is just the beginning. Our total addressable market is more than $3 billion. Where does this customer fanaticism and data-driven product development come from? Oprah. Prior to Outlaw, I was the digital product manager for Oprah, ABC, and ABC Family. I managed the launch of all 3 of those websites and the communities. And my husband and co-founder Russell is a production badass. He scaled us to 100,000 units and kept us legal. Our board is all from major CPG, Nestle, Nissan, Wonka, and more. Al Multari said Outlaw is the best run company of its size I've ever seen. Daryl said Outlaw is a defensible, expandable platform. Everyone has an inner Outlaw, and personal care is just the beginning. Thank you so much. I look forward to your questions.
All right. Thanks, Danielle. Okay, back over to Ben Narison. Question for Danielle.
Very cool product. I assume Jason's a big user of The Gambler. Seems like it fits him. I usually don't ask this, but I'm intrigued by what you think about exit possibilities. There's obviously a lot of need in the CPG space, and you saw things like Tom's and Burt's Bees and others, where they started with a very authentic and specific effort being acquired to bring that authenticity to larger brands. So, how do you think about the long-term view of where you end up here?
Thanks, Cindy.
Yeah, I want to ask about the manufacturing. Is it like domestically made, or you do international for lower cost?
Ellen.
Oh, Cindy actually asked my question, but I think it's a very cool product.
Thank you. Jonathan?
I don't have many questions, but I'm on the site buying gifts for everyone I know. So
awesome. Jordan.
I love the product. I'm a user, so I'm a little biased. I think that's the future for this market. I will always go back to the CAC LTV ratios. These are the key indicators.
Okay, Lolita?
No questions.
Okay, we have a couple from the Giasuri from Syndicate asks, how do you think about reducing margin to drive retention and test to max customer value?
All right, is that ready?
Yeah, let's take those.
All right, awesome. So Ben, I'll start with yours. Yeah, I agree. This is definitely something we've thought about. I have largely taken the Burt's Bees business model and used them as a template. Roxanne Quimby is one of my personal heroes, and I read her book about her journey every single week. So we've thought about it. I think that this is the kind of product that a large company just can't create. We are, really, really values driven. We have a natural focus. We have incredibly fanatical customers, and we have a renegade, outlaw. When somebody's an outlaw, they really love expressing their inner outlaw. So I think this is really a possibility for that. But I also think that this has a long-term business potential as well. So, we're open to talking about that. That's something that Jason and I have talked about too. And Cindy and Ellen, manufacturing. So we are committed to US manufacturing. We did a lot of our manufacturing in-house early on, and this money is actually going to help us continue to outsource our large volume products so that we are poised for scale. Because for us, scalability is really important. We also are committed to US sourced products. So our fragrance oils are all made in the US and governed by FDA regulations, stuff like that. It's something that's important to our customers and important to us, as is our low waste commitment and cruelty-free cosmetics. Our cost per acquisition and our lifetime customer value ratio, I completely agree, Jordan. This is there's some performance indicators that are just the things to watch for CPG companies. And that's really, you've nailed it. That's exactly what it is. And so we're really focused on getting our lifetime customer value up, which is why we relaunched those subscriptions. We're using this time while people are experiencing huge transition in their buying preferences to build market share. And that's my time. So please contact me afterwards. I'm Danielle@liveoutlaw.com. Thanks.
All right, great job, all the founders. This is the hard part. We're going to ask you, our investor judges, for your top three, your number 3, your number 2, and your number 1.
And you can pick up to 4 honorable mentions of the 7. After you pick your 3, 2, and 1, you cannot have a tie. And this is through the lens of you would be most interested in meeting for a follow-up meeting or investing in or getting updates from. So it's from an investment lens, not your favorite product, but as an investor, we want to know which are your favorite companies in terms of opportunity. We keep track of this over time, and the cohorts here at launch get to see how they're doing versus their contemporaries. And what inevitably happens is somebody runs away with it in the first couple of weeks. Then some people who are at the bottom who aren't getting votes double down and they make their deck perfect. And all of a sudden we see them shoot up. Sometimes people get into a negative zone where they can't get out of their own heads. But this practice of answering questions concisely, which you saw today, and presenting your idea concisely can only be done if you really understand your product, customer, and market. And what we find is the people who struggle with their presentations are the people who are actually struggling with their business. Not being able to present your company crisply could be you're just not a natural presenter and nobody's ever coached you. But it's more likely that you don't understand your actual business and you haven't made the tough decisions of how you are going to generate revenue, who your customers are, and how you're going to grow that business. So we pick companies that we think can focus in, and we can coach on, really good techniques for how to pitch a business in 3 minutes. But the truth is, if the business itself is flawed, there is no amount of shine you can put on it or technique to solve that problem. When answering questions, we ask people to listen deeply to what the investor is saying and to answer that question in as few words as possible. In other words, be concise. And if you are a founder listening to this, I know there's over 1,000 people listening to this right now, and most of them are founders, not investors. When asked a question, think deeply about why the investor angel, venture, seed, or otherwise syndicate member is asking that question, and answer it so that you get another one and another one. And then what you'll find is you're in a volley with the investor. They ask a question, you hit the ball back. They hit the question, you hit the ball back. Boom. And you're getting into that rhythm. And that means that you're going to be a great partner over the next decade. People who can't answer basic questions, they eliminate themselves from the funding or partnership opportunity, because a lot of VCs will say, this person, maybe not coachable is the right word, but just hard and difficult to work with. I can't get information from them. I can't have a productive dialogue. So just a couple of tips there for people who are watching. In what we do, what I do in my role here at the Accelerator is to work with Jacqui and work with the founders on presenting their company and saying, why can't we present our revenue model well? Is it because you haven't figured out pricing? Or why can't we figure out how to present in one slide or two slides your growth strategy and your go-to-market strategy? Is it because you don't have one, or because you haven't figured out a good one? Let's have that conversation, right? So if you ever want to come to the Accelerator, it's very simple, launch.co/apply. And I spent a decent amount of time with these companies. It's really a great privilege to see these founders work so hard through the pandemic. I think I filibustered enough. I see all the investors looking up. Jacqui, I'm going to leave it up to you to do the 3, 2, and 1. And then we will ask everybody who's watching on YouTube. YouTube doesn't have a polling piece of software, but if you're watching the YouTube live stream, I'd like you to give me your 3, 2, and 1 as well. 1, 2, and 3. Boom. Just tell me which 3 are your favorite. In the comments section? In the comments, the chat, actually, on YouTube.
And also our syndicate members will be able to poll them after this. So we'll do this with the investor judges, and then we're going to do
Zoom. So on Zoom, there's a polling. We're going to ask everybody on the Zoom who their number 1 company was. But wait for that. We'll go through the investors right now.
Great. All right, I'm going to go backwards. Robert, are you ready to give us your 3, 2, and 1? And we'll do it like this. So your 3 and your 2, and just tell us the name and not why, and then your number 1 and why.
Sure. My 3 is Vone, 2 is SupportPay, and 1 is Formulate. And I liked Formulate because I think there's a lot of opportunity right now in the intersection of personal wellness and data and customization. And so just a lot of interesting trends that I like in Formulate.
All right. Thanks, Robert. Ravi, are you ready with your 3, 2, and 1?
Yes, I am. My 3 is Formulate, my 2 is Fluent Forever, and my number 1 is SoleSavy. I chose SoleSavy because the metrics speak for itself. The users are very engaged, with 90% of them being daily active users, and they're growing well, and it's a big market.
All right, thank you. Pippa, your 3 and 2 and 1, please.
So I have a joint 3, which is V1 and Fluent Forever. 2 is Outlaw, and 1 is SupportPay. And the reason for that is that, a couple of the others are more akin to what we usually invest in, which is apps and mobile. But I think that some of the, the industry that Sheri laid out, if she can get some kind of regular recurring users on this, it's a huge market. And I like the mission behind it.
Pick just 1 for your 3rd. Which would it be? No ties.
Fluent Forever.
Great. Awesome. Thank you.
You said up to 4, so I thought that was allowed.
Yes. 4th is the honorable mention for sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pippa. Lolita.
My number 3 is SoleSavy, number 2, Outlaw, and number 1, Formulate. And for a lot of the reasons Robert mentioned, I just see that there's so much potential in going different directions with the model that they're setting up.
Okay, thank you. Jordan, your 3, 2, 1, please.
My 3 is Fluent Forever. I love Gabe. I've been working with him for a bit. I like Outlaw Soaps. I love the product, the traction, and the SupportPay. The mission is great. You're going to help people get along better, which is both financially, emotionally, and socially great. Thank you for doing that. And I'm divorced twice, so bingo.
Okay, thank you. Jonathan, your 3, 2, 1, please.
3 is SoleSavy, 2 is Fluent Forever, and 1 is SupportPay. I have concerns about getting people to actually pay the subscription to SupportPay, but I think that it's a product that's well needed, and it's one of the few products we saw that really doesn't have to fight against a lot of competition right now.
All right, thanks. Presh, what are our scores so far before we take our last few?
All right, so in first place, we've got Formulate with 4.5. Oh, sorry. First place, we've got SupportPay with 7 points. Second place, Formulate with 4.5. And third place is a tie with SoleSavy, Outlaw, and Fluent Forever with 3 points.
Okay, it's getting close. Ellen, your 3, 2, 1, please.
My 3 is SupportPay, 2 is SoleSavy, and 1 is Outlaw. I think Outlaw has great traction, great founder market fit, and a super cool product. It's very unique.
All right, thank you, Ellen. Cindy, your 3, 2, 1, please.
Number 3 is Fluent Forever. Number 2 is V1. Number 1 is SupportPay. So for Fluent Forever, I really like the founder. He wrote the book, best-selling. But I'm a little bit concerned if the market will be shrinking with AI translation. How many more users would really come to the market? I really love the SupportPay. That it's a real pain point. It's a real pain they are solving. If they really do it well, they may even expand it to married couples or couples who have children without getting married. With this trend of that going. V1 is a saturated market, but I really like how the founder presented. So yeah, so that's how I ordered them.
Thanks, Cindy. And all right, Ben, you're last. Your 3, 2, 1, please.
Great, I'm last. Get to take a little more time. This was a really hard one. I mean, I think this is one of the best batches I've seen. I've seen quite a few. And I was told I could have an honorable mention. So I'm going to give the honorable mention to SoleSavy in that I'm fascinated with this idea of these micro social networks and building them on top of Slack seems like a smart way to do it. So I'd love to watch how that progresses. My number 3 is Outlaw Soaps, mainly because I think it's a really cool product and would probably be more likely a personal investment than a venture investment, but it's pretty cool. Formulate, number 2, and number 1, Fluent Forever. The Fluent Forever market, I've been surprised by how large companies have been able to get in that space. I would not have expected that 10 years ago when I first started to see it. I do think the entrenched competition makes it hard. However, taking a distinctly different way to get people to truly Fluent is intriguing. The growth's been good. The expertise of the founder is exceptional. So that would got my number 1 slot.
All right, thanks. Okay, Presh, what is our final tally?
All right. In first place, we've got SupportPay with 9.5 points. In second place, we've got a 3-company tie with 5.5 points for Fluent Forever, Formulate, and Outlaw Soaps. And in third place, we've got SoleSavy with 4 points.
Wow, that's a first. I'm pretty certain.
Yeah, that's definitely a first. This is a pretty strong class. Thanks to everybody coming. And now we'll do a quick vote. If you're on Zoom, we'll just ask any of the other LPs on Zoom to pick their number 1 company. I just got that, and I am going to pick my number 1 company. I won't tell you who it is.
You're not allowed to vote.
Oh, host and panelists cannot vote. What? Oh,
yes, it's your rules.
It's my rules. That's right. But everybody vote, and then in a minute we'll do that. Thanks everybody for coming. I know everybody's very busy or not in quarantine, and it's very uncertain times. But we think that the down market is where the fortunes are built. They're just collected in the up market. And we are seeing extraordinary companies and founders who are very cash efficient, who turn nickels into dollar bills or quarters into $5 bills. They're capital efficient and they're focused on revenue and customers. And that's our wheelhouse: bootstrappers, builders, people who can take a small amount of money and take it a long way in terms of growing their revenue. We're looking for companies to invest in that have products in market, but don't have a Series A yet. So it's very important as investors to know your Goldilocks zone, where you can do your most, you do your best work basically and get the most returns. For us, that's a company that's launched a product and has, in the case of Fitbod or Calm.com, or a number of companies have done well, LeadIQ with us, they had under $10,000 a month in revenue. And then we start working with those companies and get them to 30, 40, 50K in revenue. And that's when the seed funds really start to engage. And then when they hit that $1 million to $3 million, that's when the VC funds do the Series A's. And that's just broad simplification of numbers. Obviously, there's a lot of margin differences between marketplaces, SaaS companies, consumer companies, et cetera. But that's just generally where we live. And in the voting, the poll results are showing, it looks like SupportPay and Formulate with 29% each, an exact tie with 40 votes. Wow, something is happening. Fluent Forever in second place after the two-way tie in first with 31 votes, 23%.
Jason, who would you vote for then, since you can't, but you can tell us? Go ahead, tell us.
Well, you know, I can give you some ideas. You know, some of these businesses are very easy to make an investment in because they're predictable subscription businesses. So I feel like it doesn't take a lot of courage to invest in Fluent Forever, SoleSavy, SupportPay, and companies like that because they have subscriptions. Now you look at a company like Freedrum, they're making that pivot from hardware into subscription. That's a little more challenging. You have to believe that will work. So I believe that will work. And then you look at Formulate. Well, that's kind of a unique product, isn't it? Mass customized. And then you look at V1 again, no code, and they're doing something new. So there are easy bets to make. And then there are, as an investor, I believe, and then there are the wild cards. My track record is a taxi company, a meditation app, and a stock trading app for millennials. So if you look at those three, all three of those, I think were pretty big long shots. So I love the long shots. And in this group, you know, it's hard to say who the long shot is. Some people might say SoleSavy is the long shot here because it's such a unique, interesting, different idea. So I'm going to go with today, SoleSavy. But that's based on a personal interest I have and a hope that I think communities can be monetized with subscriptions. That doesn't mean I think it's the one that's going to return the most money from us. Exactly, quite the opposite. I think it's the most risk-taking of the group. So I like the risk-taking ones because if they do work, right? I never ask myself, like, what's the chances it's going to work? I ask myself how big it could get. I could see Dejan and the team and SoleSavy having these paid communities across 10 different verticals eventually and really creating something that doesn't exist in the world right now. And I like things that don't exist in the world right now in terms of, you know, the total addressable market for meditation apps was 0 when I invested in Calm, right? And so that's kind of an interesting thing to me is when the total addressable market is 0. You know, we could tell you soap and shampoo and, you know, SaaS products. We know the total addressable market for many of these companies. Perhaps they expand it, but it's a good question. So I promised I'd get you out of here in an hour, and we did that. We did a little extra banter, so we got to 75 minutes. But I really do appreciate all the support that the investment community gives the companies at launch, especially in terms of time. The best thing you can do as an investor is to have that, you know, open heart, open ears, and spend time with these founders. And you don't want to waste their time, but also, you know, if you've got some scar tissue and some knowledge, spending some time as an investor, even a 10K investor, a 25K investor may seem like a small check, but I've heard repeatedly from founders that the smaller the check size, paradoxically, the greater the effort on the angel investor. So it's kind of interesting, and that does track. You know, sometimes people who get, you know, write the big checks, you know, maybe they don't have as much time on their hands, but the early stage angels and the syndicate members really do spend some time, try the products. Don't ask for free product. It's another one that I always tell people, just go pay for the product and use it, and it's great. So I really appreciate y'all coming. Stay safe. We're starting the LA 19 class. In fact, this afternoon, Jacqui, am I right, is week 1 for LA 19?
Yes.
And then we have 4 of the 7 for LA 20 already selected and signed and wired, I believe, a couple in diligence. So we're just doing this Groundhog Day thing where we're just going to keep investing. And I really appreciate everybody coming. If you're a founder, you know how to get us, launch.co/apply. We're also doing something called remotedemoday.com, which is for any company that wants to pitch the 4,000 members of the syndicate and anybody else who is an accredited investor who wants to come. And that's happening on Tuesday, Jacqui, remotedemoday.com. Is that right?
Yes.
So we're going to do 7 companies. I think one of them is of the 6 is one we've invested in already. The other 6 are just new companies, and I meet those as well. So if you like this format, we're doing it for other companies as well that are raising. Perhaps you have a company that's raising, and you can just go to remotedemoday.com and have them fill out the form, and then the team will look at it. And we share that deal flow with everybody. So that's like an open platform we're testing. Thanks for coming, everybody. And we'll see you next time at Launch Accelerator.
Thanks, everyone. And congrats to all the
19 Great Demo
founders.
Day. Congrats, founders. We'll have a barbecue at some point at my house. Sorry, we can't have barbecue.
When we get to meet you for the first time in person.
Yeah, we'll meet some of you in person. That'd be really cool to meet you all. You can invest over Zoom. It's okay, everybody. It's just look at the customers. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Good luck, Jacqui.
Always. Thanks, Jeremy.